The workplace and the workforce, as we have always known, has undergone a drastic change in the past 18 months. It is disrupted like we thought would never be possible. As we take some steps towards some semblance of normalcy, how should businesses rethink, reconfigure, and reinvent their people and organizational agenda to get their people fit for future? And how should our talent prepare themselves for these new realities? To discuss these aspects and much more, I have with me my colleague, Chaitali Mukherjee. Chaitali, to what extent has this pandemic really impacted our workplaces and our workforce? Everybody is talking about what has changed. But what is it that will never change? What are those constants?
We all have been thrown out of turf, isn't it? Even if employees don't change and the employer remains the same, the ambience, the place, and how we are going to work will never remain the same, because the fact remains we are in a different world. Having said that, there are three core things that I feel are not changing completely at least. So let's take the first one. And the first one is actually talent. The fact remains that talent being at the center of delivering success doesn't go off the table. It has only become a little more pronounced, should I say. The second one is importance of capabilities and skills for organizations and their availability in the market. Earlier as well, they were in demand. Now that demand supply ratio has gone completely out of control. And that has not changed at all. We will continue to look for great talent, good talent, and they will always be in higher demand than in supply. And the third one, according to me, that's going to play a very important role and hasn't changed, is that of the organization's culture, and that being a silent success factor. Although the only change that I would say in case of culture is it has no more remained that silent, it has become a little more pronounced right now. And I think these are the three changes that I feel all organizations had even in the past, even today, but a lot more pronounced. So Arnab, let me ask you this question. As the advisory leader, you are meeting a lot of clients, and these clients are across sectors, across maturity levels, across locations. What are some of the common problems you are seeing all of them face? And what are some of their thoughts around these issues that we just discussed?
Well, the future is all about balancing talent and the growth agenda. Talent and skills are the new currencies in the future of work. And what would the organizations prioritize for themselves? The operating models of the future are going to be very different. It's currently the era of multiple coexistence. Coexistence of technology, flexibility, hybrid workplaces, and we have newer business dimensions being added, like social capital. So the operating model that earlier used to be a stable one would have to change. We continue to be close to the business needs, whether we are in the back office or in the front office. But how do we drive culture in this distributed ecosystem? How do we drive social engagement? These are going to be questions which would face the organizations of the future. So Chaitali, a question back at you. How are organizations planning to actualize this? How should business leaders gear up to build a resilient workplace as well as the workforce of the future?
This is a very difficult question. How do organizations actualize this problem and solve this for current? Some organizations have actually already started to do it. I think there are three core things that come to my mind when we think of how to actualize it or what organizations are doing. The first and the foremost being viewing the employee from the lens of the customer. Now let's face it, you'll never come across one organization that doesn't say that customer is important for them, isn't it? Organizations have now realized that employee has to be given the same respect, the same dignity, the same position as the customer in terms of what they are doing with the customer as well as what they are doing with the employee. That will actually enable organizations and employees to build a very different kind of bond. The second one that I feel is going to be extremely important is the aspect of care for the employee. And this care is not just word of mouth care, right? It has to be designed around the employee right at the center or what the employee is seeking. The future is no more about lifetime jobs. The future is about huge impact in the period that the employee chooses to be with the organization. So organizations' ability to appreciate that and enable the employee and give him or her the same position, the same respect for not how long, how tenured they are, but who they are and what they bring to the table is going to be extremely critical. And the third one, according to me, that's going to be extremely important is employees today need to be connected to the organization's purpose. The trust that we need to build with the employee as an organization has to go beyond what the organization stands for from a business perspective. So, trying to understand what the employee is seeking, what is his or her individual purpose, and connecting that to the organization purpose is what can actually help us solve for this problem.
So, Chaitali, different types of organizations have been impacted very differently, right? What would be your advice to, say, a startup against a large multinational organization on how they should look at their people and organizational priorities in the short term to the mid-term?
Every organization is reeling under the same problem of being relatable, being in demand, and being a happy organization for its employees. Now, the burden of delivering on all of these aspects on the leadership is very, very high. I think whether it's a startup or whether it's a large organization, the first and the foremost thing that we as organizations need to start thinking about is A, where is my leadership on this entire piece? How empowered are my leaders? How involved are my leaders feeling? Because if my leaders are feeling involved and they are feeling empowered, this burden of making it happen will no more rely just on the leaders. Their ability to create the cascade effect with the rest of the organization will increase. Number one. Number two, and I think that's very, very important, whether you are a startup or you're a large organization, battles are not won alone. Battles are won when people are together. And this is no short of a war that we are seeing right now. It's not being defined in the war front, but it is a very similar one. Each and every employee of yours has to take accountability, take ownership, and not just seek from the organization, but also come up and put forward what he or she is ready to do. I think that's going to be a very, very critical one. Now, how do I charge my employees so much so that they own the organization and make that happen? That's different strokes for different folks, horses for courses, as we all say. But that's going to be the most important one. Whether you're a startup or you're a large organization, the perfect recipe will have to be created with the employees. It won't get done by leaders trying to do it or by doing it top down. It will have to be a democratized approach.
Thank you, Chaitali, for these interesting insights. Building a fit for future workplace and a workforce is crucial to building trust as business. And the journey towards that may not always be easy in today's dynamic business environment. However, the right strategic partners and a human-centric approach can definitely help businesses rethink, reconfigure, and reinvent themselves to create the workplace and the workforce of the future. Thank you, viewers, for joining in. We will be back soon with another relevant business topic. Until then, take care and stay safe.